Welcome to What About PS, a Poland Syndrome podcast, where we talk about all things Poland Syndrome. The episodes that you can look forward to in this podcast speak about the male and female experience, motherhood and breastfeeding, general day-to-day living, health and fitness, and also including hand and chest affected people who have Poland Syndrome. If you have Poland Syndrome, or if you know of someone who has Poland Syndrome, then be sure to have a look out and listen to our latest episodes.
Hello and welcome everyone to a live special recording for Poland Syndrome Awareness Day of What About PS, a Poland Syndrome podcast. I'm Sam Fillingham, CEO of PIP-UK, and I am delighted to be stepping in for our usual wonderful host Giselle, who sadly can't make it last minute. The podcast What About PS was launched on Poland Syndrome Awareness Day in 2023, and it's a space where we share real stories, experiences, and dreams from our amazing PS community. And today I'm excited to be joined by two amazing guests. We've got Gift from Uganda and Karen from Devon, and both Gift and Karen have lived experience of Poland Syndrome, and they took part in last year's powerful fashion show in Birmingham for inclusive fashion. It was Gift's first visit to the UK, and Karen and Gift both first time of meeting people with Poland Syndrome. So it was a beautiful occasion. And they're both passionate volunteers for PIP-UK and also raise awareness online and in their own platforms and communities, which is always wonderful to see. So welcome, Gift and Karen.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Amazing.
Thank you for having us. We're happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you here, especially from so far away in Uganda as well. Thanks, Gift. Okay, so let's make a start then. Karen, first of all, it'd be wonderful to understand more about when you first learned that you had Poland Syndrome and how it kind of shaped growing up and your understanding of your own body, I guess, growing up.
So I first found out I had Poland Syndrome. Well, my parents found out when I was born. So I'm hand affected and chest affected. So obviously the hand part was very obvious for them. None of the surgeons or doctors knew what was going on. They had never heard of Poland Syndrome, which is obviously a recurring theme that I think we all go through. But I think I first had the understanding when I reached like primary school and I was looking at other kids and kind of socializing more, and then I realized like, oh, hang on, everyone else has two normal hands, I guess. I don't know. So I think I just kind of like, I've always understood I have it, but I never kind of knew what that meant in the community or in like society. I didn't have a good understanding of that until I reached puberty, and then the breast side of things started to come more obvious for me. But other than that, I think I've just always known, and it's like finding out when you're a kid, I think it helps you understand it more, but it never prepares you for how other people will react and if they're going to understand it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So did you always have the language of it when you were little? Like you knew what it was called and you could sort of kind of own that and explain that to people as you were growing up?
Yeah, my parents were really good at just kind of always interacting with me in a way of saying like, look, you are going to get people looking at you are going to get people asking you questions, but you have Poland Syndrome. It's a good thing to tell people and just try and not let it affect you too much, sort of thing. They were very clear on like other people might not be as understanding, but we always did the analogy of Jeremy Beadle had it and he had a smaller hand. That's how we used to explain it to doctors because they were of an age of people who knew who Jeremy Beadle was. I personally didn't, but all I knew was that he had Poland Syndrome. But, you know, it worked, and other people then kind of went, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean, and we went on from there.
Amazing. It is really helpful to have that reference. And I do still try and use the Jeremy Beadle reference, but reading The Room of the Age, because it's very quickly losing its relevance, sadly, isn't it? But luckily we have, lots more lovely people to refer to now as well.
Yes.
And same for you then, Gift. When did you first learn you had Poland syndrome, and how did it shape sort of growing up and an understanding of your body?
Oh, thank you, Samantha. I first discovered the share, the difference in my breast was, which is termed as Poland syndrome in 2012. And I had joined just a different level of education. And I'm in the first year. And it's when I hit puberty. I had not developed breasts. So when they developed in 2012, that's when I realized that the rate at which they're growing was quite different. And at first, I didn't care. I can say I didn't care. In my mind, I thought, just like they always say, it is normal to have a difference in the breasts. I always thought it's okay until this is part of the story. Until one day, I was just sitting with a desk mate, and I did something wrong. I'm sorry, I did something wrong. But then she
We lost her.
Lost Gift for a moment. I was hoping she would come back sharing a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to finishing that story off with Gift. So interesting, the different experiences and different ages everyone found out. It'd be really good then, Karen, to understand, was there kind of a specific moment or time in life where you felt like empowered to talk about it or like be more confident about it?
Yeah, I think it's quite sad to say, but it really wasn't until a couple of years ago when I first kind of stopped pulling my sleeve down and stopped, hiding it, I guess. When I was a kid, I had no idea that there was anything different about me. I just ran around, I was a happy kid, and it was fine. It was just my hand, so that was something that, like, people could understand. They're like, oh, it's just a bit smaller, that's fine. And then when I hit puberty, it then changed into something different, and I was, missing a breast as well. That took it to a whole new level for me, and I think that knocked my confidence down quite a lot. And then I really want to say it probably wasn't until just after lockdown I kind of realised, like, there is so much more important things going on. Like, it really, to me, put into perspective that, like, I'm not that different. There's nothing that much wrong with me. I was in university at the time, and it was incredible to see that people didn't care as much. Like, I was meeting these new people and they just didn't care. They were like, you're fine. Like, it didn't matter to them. And then I think after that we were in lockdown and I had a lot of time to reflect, and I just thought, why continue my life hiding it? I was 20 then, and I just thought, I can't go on like this anymore. So I started to just talk about it more. I was posting on Instagram just little bits, talking about Poland syndrome, just getting people used to the idea. And then obviously our lovely Becca, I got in contact with her and we were talking about it, and I saw how confident she was. And I thought, if she can do it, then so can I, and it didn't matter. And I mean, obviously we're all in this different spectrum of how we're affected. And I thought, I have a really unique point of view of being both hand and chest affected, that I should talk about it, and I should get other people talking about it as well if I can.
It's amazing. I mean, you say it was like later in life for you, but it doesn't come till much later for some people. So
No.
it's beautiful that that's happened in your 20s, and you're able to sort of carry that confidence through to the rest of your life.
Yeah, I hope so.
Absolutely. And Gift, we lost you for a moment. You were telling us about your desk mate. You want to go back to that?
Yeah, I would like to go back to that. I'm sorry about what happened. Um, Largely, I would check my growth is, I can say, it lowered my esteem so much that at a certain point I appeared to relate with other girls because they understand what it should be, the normal shapes, and now realizing mine, they would easily tell that there is a difference, and that would the conversations would bring me down. So throughout the years, the 6 years, it was really a roller coaster for me. It was, I went through stress, depression, and mental illnesses, and surely that made me go through similar kind of life. However, I had some support system. I was in a good school that where we had a counselor, and, sessions where I could have a one-on-one counseling and all it helped me to deal with the situation. But for the 6 years that I finished in that level, it was really not easy. Relate with people because I didn't want to hear comments that they would make about me because they would make me not to study, but I didn't want that. I wanted to achieve academic balance, so I wanted to keep away from the negative energy. So it was really not easy, but with a support system around me, my teachers, the counselors, I went through it, though not easy. Because every time I would go to bed, most of the times I cried. I just thought of how I would go to the bathroom the next day to bed with the other girls, and then knowing that they would question me. So sleeping every night, knowing that the next day you have to face the same thing, it would be a worry for me day in, day out. Because we had open bathrooms, and that would make it harder for me to hide that I was trying. It was really not easy. That's how I can describe it.
Thank you for describing that so beautifully. I think we are struggling with your volume a little bit, so I think on the next question it'd be good to maybe drop your camera and we might get a clearer sound on your voice. We did hear it, but the volume was just really quite low. But thank you for sharing that.
The phone closer to me.
Okay, yeah, that might work for the next one. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and turning back to Karen then, you both took part in the beautiful fashion show last year. I would love to hear 1 year later what your reflections of that experience were for you.
I can't believe it's been a year. It really doesn't feel like that long ago. I don't, honestly, looking back, that is probably the most impactful and probably the most courageous thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know if you remember, I was terrified.
Do you remember? Yeah.
And looking back, I sprinted down that runway. I did not take my time. I was up and back in probably a minute. But it was just so fun it was my first time ever meeting anyone else with Poland syndrome. I was 24. I mean, it's incredible to realise that it took me that long. But it was a beautiful experience. And I mean, even watching the younger kids in a part of the hospital take part, that was amazing to see that at that age they have such confidence. It was so nice to see that being in a community where people are like you, how that can affect your outlook on life and how you go about your day-to-day business. I think just like looking back, it was something that, I mean, I want to do it again. If we can do another one, that would be great. It was just incredible to meet everyone for the first time and finally get to sit and talk about our experiences and the whole process of getting ready together, and just we were all in it together and we were united. And I think that's the first time I'd felt that properly, to be a part of this community and to actually be with people and be like, okay, well, if we're all going to do it, like, we're going to be fine and we'll be in it together. And then even just like afterwards, I was on this like high. I was like jumping around going, I can't believe I actually did it, even with the blisters on my feet, which were painful. But it was just, I didn't feel like I had to hide. I walked down and I didn't feel like I had to be ashamed of anything anymore, and that all kind of lifted from me, I think. And hearing your speeches, introducing everyone, and just, I've never felt so united in my life, and I think that's something that was really important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's made me really emotional, just taking back to that moment. You're right, that being together was so special. And for people listening to this recording, and the lovely people that are in this room who might not have heard about it or known about it, it was an inclusive fashion show arranged by Birmingham Children's Hospital, and for the first time they allowed adults to take part in the fashion show and invited us and the Poland syndrome community to take part and to connect with a wonderful Malawian fashion designer, Lily Alfonso, to design some bespoke clothing for our Poland syndrome ladies taking part. And we had a film crew with us as well from Smiley Charity that also documented it. So we'll be sharing those videos again this week on socials because they're amazing as well. But yeah, it was a super special event, and it's lovely to hear, Karen, that like a year on, those reflections of like the things that it lifted for you and changed for you. Like it's so,
I think even with when we had obviously the difficulty of not being able to get the outfits to us for the day, that obviously I think we were all a bit stressed for that. But then knowing that we could do it again the following Monday and actually get to wear the clothes was, I mean, wearing them, meeting Lily and just doing it again, I felt being it's the first time I've never had to like adjust the clothing on my shoulders, and they fit me perfectly, and it was really nice to know that there is someone out there who is really looking at changing how fashion is and making sure it is inclusive for everyone and it fits you right. I mean, having clothing fit you and getting it tailored, that's so expensive, and not everyone has that luxury to be able to do it for everything you wear. So I think like finally getting to feel comfortable in the clothing you're wearing and just feel like it was made for you and actually worked for your body was really beautiful, and I think that is something I'll never forget.
Absolutely, me too. Just being around all of you, like witnessing that experience and seeing and feeling all of that was super special, a real privilege. Gift, do you want to share about your experience of the fashion show?
Yeah, I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for my time. Because I was just reflecting back and remembering the whole experience of it. And till I think it is still one of the best memories that I have. One of the best experiences I've had. It was my first international flight, first of all, that I had. Then the best of it that really touched me. I remember before getting on the floor for the cutoff, I don't know whether you remember, Samantha, but I cried. And I was not crying because of my condition. Me, that time, I was crying because of it was joy. It was joy. It was the experience that overwhelmed me, and I felt happy, extremely happy. After the fashion show, I was very happy. Above all, to be in a space that I felt understood. Above any other thing, I was happy about everything. But above all, I was happy for being in a space where I feel the people I have can understand me. Because all through my life, I had felt like no one really understands what it means to live a life where you have Poland syndrome, a condition which you're not seeing most of the people around you having. So even when I could tell them and try to explain, I just felt like they didn't understand. And in the moment, the time we had together at a fashion show was the best for me, for I felt like at last I can let my heart out about my feelings, and I can feel understood. And so I was very happy. With the girls, Karen, I was happy to be with you. With Becca, with Grace, it was such a nice experience to see us, not even about me myself, to see other ladies ably putting on their comfortable, in a comfortable way, clothes that they can move with confidence in. And they don't have to worry about what is in the audience, because we could see we are one. We have something to share. We can relate with each other. And it just left a lot in my mind, and I'll never forget about it. I just wish I could take part in any event that we have with the PIP-UK charity. Though far in Africa, but I wish I could be there all the time and just relate with everyone that is having peace, because there is just peace that it brought my heart. And I believe at least it brought something that will never be forgotten in everyone's heart that experienced or took part in that show. I was very happy, and I thank you for that.
It was wonderful to have you take part in it, and hopefully we'll all get a chance to again one day. I'll never forget sort of after the fashion show gift, seeing your confidence grow. You know, everyone was kind of a little bit worried. Karen, you got really worried, like you said.
I was shaking.
You were really, really shaking. But I'll never forget sort of seeing all of your confidence grow throughout of the evening, and the impact, you know, that had on you just on that night. Yeah, really special sight to behold. So yeah, let's invite in more of that for this community.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And just turning to sort of fashion and beauty industries, and Karen, do you feel like it's ready to embrace like differences and inclusivity at all? What's your sense on that?
I think it says it is. I don't think it is. I think designers might be ready for it. But I still just don't know whether it is that box they have to tick, and they have to do it to stop themselves from being under negative press, because I think it is starting to come into light a bit more that clothing isn't accessible for everyone, and there are so many things. I'm not sure if you saw it, but Primark have released a accessibility range where it's got like zips on the side and bras that have zips, or like poppers. I saw that when I was in Cardiff. They had a large range of it, but it still wasn't something that was ready for everyone. I think like designers want to do it, but there's always going to be how society will react, and if it's actually going to do well, if it will sell. And then there's that aspect of you have to make it affordable for everyone, because if you're going to get designers doing it, then they might not make it accessible because they've had to do more alterations. It could even be more expensive than regular clothes. So I think they say they're ready. I don't really think they are. I mean, it would be nice, but I mean, I don't think I'll ever get a jumper where I don't have to roll the sleeve or cut the sleeve, or like this cardigan I'm wearing, it always falls off. I have to like either buy it a size too small and then it doesn't fit me properly, but just so it doesn't fall off on one side. That's something that I don't think will ever be, or not in the next few years. I don't think that'll be ready for society.
I think that's a really fair reflection. And Gift, the same for you. What were your feeling on sort of the fashion and beauty standards, and whether it's ready to be accessible to the Poland syndrome community?
I think we have the community. we cease looking at each other as humans and pick out appearance. Sometimes some people forget looking at humanity and instead look at the outside. And that's what creates a mindset of this one is okay, this one is not on this one. So when we even pick out some clothes, just like any other person can put it on, quickly someone want to look out for what is not right. And that has, to me, it has shaped my choice of clothes when I go out. When it comes to fashion, I think the biggest percentage of the people is those who have not come out to appreciate the differences. The differences of people and understanding that it's okay for another person to be different. And the world of fashion, when we go out, we have those who are ready to accept that, yes, we have differences, and so we should cater for this other group whose bodies is in this way. But then we have another group in our society which doesn't have a feeling for these people in a certain way, so let's cater for them. You either fit in what is there or you don't. And so I feel the world, the fashion world, and the concept of beauty outside is different in different people's mind. Personally, I struggle. Sometimes I've journeyed through it, but sometimes I struggle to find if something is trending, for example, and it's open, showing the upper part of the body, and you try to explain to the tailor or to the owner of the boutique, can we change this to what can fit my chest? And the response is, you either take it or you don't. We don't have the time. Just pick what can work for you. So, meaning they're not ready to take it up and cater for the change or the differences in the bodies. But I accept that we have some people who, to them, as long as someone is human, then the physical outside appearance really doesn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I was just reflecting on, I've just been to India, and in India you can have all your clothes tailored very cheaply and bespoke to your body and yourself. And it's a beautiful way to experience clothing there, because I've never experienced anything like that, where you can just pick up a piece of material and take it to someone who will measure and make it to exactly how you want it to be for very little. I mean, I had a kaftan made for about £10, I think it was, all in all, for the material and to have it tailored. And it just, I guess it gives me hope that, you know, there's cultures and there's people and there's ways that are accepting and accessible to make clothes just for us. I think it will take a lot in the UK for that kind of change to come in, but I guess it gives me a bit of hope. And maybe, Karen, if you put India on your list to visit, go and get loads of clothes made like that.
I might have to put it on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wonderful. Okay, moving on. So I wanted to understand, if I'll go to Karen first, if you could send a message to your younger self or a young girl just finding out about her Poland syndrome or coming to terms with it, what would you say?
I think I would. It's really difficult because I wish I had someone to say this to me when I was younger. But I think I would just say, just live your life. It really isn't going to affect you that badly in terms of how people see you. You're going to get a few comments, but they're not worth thinking about. They're not worth dwelling on. And that is something that's, I think, quite rich to say, because we're all going to dwell on it. I think the negative comments stick with you worse than the positive ones. But I wish I could just tell my younger self to just try and, like, I don't know, see the world in a different light and just treat people all the same and just hope that they're going to do the same for you. It didn't happen for me, but hopefully there are just people that, I mean, I remember last year when we did the festival and we were in Birmingham and my dad came and we played that video. I met a young girl and I cannot remember her name, but she was the most adorable young girl I'd ever seen. And when she saw my hand, she looked like she was about to cry because she had a smaller hand. And I walked with her in the little fashion show we did, and I just said to her, don't hide it. There's no need to hide it. People will get used to it. It's not something that they're going to hate you for. You're not going to experience much negativity around it. They will be fine. You just have to believe it. You have to go about life and believe that it's not as bad as you think it is. But I remember her laces were undone and I offered to do them up for her, and she was really shocked that I could do laces. And that was something that, it took me a long time to learn, but you get there and it is going to be okay. Like, it's really not as bad as we think it is in the moment when you're that young.
I think that's a beautiful message, Karen, to, A, your younger self, but B, those young ladies out there. And also for you to have had that moment with a young girl at the festival last year and, she's got a small hand. Sorry. Just that moment will have made more of a difference to her or to her parents and to the people around her than you'll ever know.
I was crying on the train on the way home with my dad. I just couldn't believe that I actually got to meet someone and I got to. No, I think in the moment I don't think I made an impact, but looking back, I think I did, and I hope that it's something that we can all carry on and just be more positive about it and just hope for the best with everything, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I'm a great host. Yes, but it just, it's a really good reminder this time of year of how important this work is, because if we don't keep doing it, we don't get to have those moments.
Yeah, definitely.
And, it's hard, this work. It's, we've got a few people in the room today, and it's really hard to keep all of this work and this community going. And it's moments like that that just remind me why it's so important to do. So thank you for sharing that reflection.
I think we might have lost Gift.
We might have. I think she's coming back. So hopefully she'll be with us in a moment and we can ask her the same question around a beautiful message.
Oh, she's back.
Hi, Gift. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. So we're just moving on to, do you have a message for your younger self or younger girls with Poland syndrome that you would like to share?
So much. So much. I just say a line, and I would say different is okay and beautiful. It's easier said, than lived. Living it is difficult, but if I knew that then, if someone told me that, then I think I would have dealt with what I went through differently. Because I always felt like that the difference was not worth bringing out. Actually, in growing up, I always told myself, no one should ever see me. Like, how? This should not be seen outside. And I would tell my younger self that everyone has their struggles. Even the bullies, even those that you fear, they have their struggles, really. Only that theirs are not seen and yours is seen. And I would tell still my younger self, beauty is beyond the boobs. And focus on what is in the mind than what is outside. And so it can change more and bring better to you than focusing on what is on the outside if you do the work in the inside. Yeah, I think that's what I would tell my younger self.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I guess it would be good to know from Karen, like, there's good days and bad days, isn't there, with this rare condition and with life in general. And it'd be nice to know, if you don't mind sharing, how you support yourself on days when your confidence is harder to find.
I'm very lucky to have a good support system around me and friends that have been with me since day one. Like, I have friends for over 20 years now, and I've got my family, and I think they're the people that bring me up. I still struggle to do it myself, but having my friends, my family, and my partner with me, it really does kind of bring me back into myself, I think, a bit more, and it makes me realise that, like Gift just said, beauty is only skin deep. Like, it is really what's on the inside that counts. And I think having my support system around me, and I can just message them and say I don't feel great today, and they'll come up with loads of reasons why I should. And I think back to the things I've done with you and with the charity, and that makes me feel a bit more confident. It makes me think, like, I'm not doing this for myself anymore, I'm doing it for everyone else. And that brings me up, and it makes me feel a bit better. And I mean, we're all going to have days where we feel like crap, and we're all going to, other than Poland syndrome, my health hasn't been great lately. So I think, like, looking at that makes it 10 times harder for me most days, but it's not about me anymore. I'm trying to be more selfless and just think about, like, there's so many people I can help by posting on TikTok and posting on Instagram, that even if I'm not reaching thousands of people, I could reach that one person, and that gets me out of bed, and that makes me film a video or just write something.
Yeah, and that makes such a difference, and that's lovely to hear that you have got the most wonderful support system. I've been lucky to meet your sister and your dad and your partner. See their support at all the events we've done together now. They are a beautiful support system.
My dad still talks about your speech and how incredible it was at the fashion show. He loved it. That's the first time I'd seen my dad cry in years at the fashion show.
Oh my gosh, it was really lovely for your dad to have that opportunity to meet others, other parents and other families and everything, and the doctors. It was lovely to see your dad have that experience as well.
I think as well, like, as like someone with Poland syndrome, I always used to think it just affected me, but my dad and my sister were with me through it, and it affected them so much. So I think, like, the support that we have in the community, it's not just for us, it is for our families, and I think that makes more difference than you realise as well. Like, it's just incredible to have people that they could talk to if they wanted to, or just like see what we're doing this weekend. It's incredible to have everyone around us, and not just for us, for our families as well.
You're right, it's really powerful for family members to be around and hear and meet others, because they probably think that, well, it's not about me, I'm just caring for or part of a family with a person who's gone through it, but it does mean a lot for them. Like, I always remember my mum felt so on the outside but so part of it. And when George was having his operations when he was little, she was desperately thinking of these ways to adapt his clothes, and she was putting bandages on his toys and things, because she felt all of it as much as we did. And you're right, it's really important to remember the wider family, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. And gift then, the same for you? How do you support yourself on the days when it's hard to find that confidence?
Allow to feel the feelings. I allow myself. I think most of the times I allow myself to go through it. And one of the things I normally do is to get out of spaces that would trigger me. Any space I feel like the people I'm relating with, the conversations around can trigger me or have triggered me, then I withdraw and I have myself by myself first get through it. But more to that, I think I have a supportive family, supportive parents, and really they have been there for me every time I feel like I'm down. I run to them, I tell them I've been going through this, I'm feeling this way, and they have always been there to listen, because most of the times in that moment all I need is a listening ear, and they really give me that, and I'm glad and grateful. But not forgetting that with a community, I can't deny that much as I have all these people here, surely they can't clearly understand what it means. Sometimes I have always run to the groups that we have, the social media groups of PIP-UK charity, to the community, and I feel like there I can share and feel understood. Just sharing, having someone to tell, makes me feel relieved of the bad feeling that I could be having or whatever I'm going through at that moment. Sharing with the community, be it on WhatsApp, be it on Facebook, be it on Instagram. Sometimes I run to Rebecca, and mostly on Instagram, I just tell her, I'm dealing with this, and this. Just one word from her puts me back to normal. And I'm happy and glad to be having such a community. And I'm grateful for the work that you do, Samantha. I'm thankful and I'm grateful. I'm happy to be with you.
Grateful for you all too. This wonderful community, and I think the big takeaway from both of you there is support from others, whether that's in your family or from the community or people around you. It's not to do this alone. I think that's so important, and I think, well, I know that was a big part of why this started. It was just from my own feeling of loneliness as a parent with a child with Poland syndrome, to make sure that no one ever was alone again. So, it's wonderful there's people joining us here live today, but if anyone's listening who is journeying this alone, please don't do that anymore. Reach out to people around you, reach out to the community, and know that there's people here that will support you with a word, with a little message online, a phone call, anything. You're not alone. You are not alone. I just keep crying now, so I'm going to round things up soon so we can open it to the wider community. And I think it would be lovely to sort of finish with a question to Karen first. What's one thing you wish more people understood about living with Poland syndrome?
I think I wish I understood how. Oh, not me. I wish people understood that Poland syndrome is a spectrum, and I think I've always felt alone in the fact of I still haven't met someone that is chest and hand affected. It's still I've never met anyone, never spoken to anyone who is, and I wish people understood like how wide it can affect you and how it isn't just the chest, and like whilst it is obviously extremely difficult to live being chest affected because that is the first thing people see and comment on, I think I wish people understood that like it's not just the chest, it isn't just the hand, like there are so many different ways it can affect you, and none of which are more important or less important than each other, but that just because you've made a decision to have surgery or not have surgery, I wish people kind of got that it was something that we all have to deal with in our own ways, but then also that we can still talk to each other and relate to each other even if we're not affected in the same way. I think that's really important.
That is super, super important. And I think you're right. It's so hard to explain to people like what is at each end of the spectrum and how everyone's affected differently. It would be really lovely to have an easier way to share that and spread that awareness.
I mean, I had a message on TikTok. Someone messaged me after one of my videos I did, and they said, I have Poland syndrome and I'm just chest affected. I didn't have surgery. And then they said, you can't have Poland syndrome because you've got a small hand. And it's like they didn't understand the full range of it. And I don't think people understand like comments like that. It makes me think like, oh, well, I do, but like I can't prove it to you. Like there's no way we can prove it. There's not enough research where we can say like, look, it affects this, this, and this, and you can have it this way or that way. It's something that I think we all not need to understand more, but just need to think about more, that like whilst we're doing all of these events, it would be great to have just a more understanding in the wider community, especially outside of PIP. I think like people who aren't involved in the charity or don't know who we are, I think it would just be great to have that research for them where they can show like it's a spectrum and it's not a linear journey either.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to add that spectrum awareness to like our list of research priorities, because I think that is super important, and it's kind of a new nuance to the awareness in a way, because the awareness has spread so much on social media in the last few years. So there is like more people who know about it and are getting diagnosed. So it's interesting that perhaps that spectrum of what a syndrome is and how people can affect it has maybe been missed out of the stuff that's out there at the moment. So it's a really good reminder of that. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. And then to Gift, then, what's one thing you wish more people understood about living with Poland syndrome?
I wish most of the people understood the magnitude of the psychological impact of it. Being in a community where in 1,000 it just stand out as one who has it is not something, much as I'm at a certain level where I'm really confident in my body. But like you asked, some days we really lose it, some days. And be it in the workspace, be it at home, be it in the communities, every community that we stay in, I wish people could understand the magnitude of the psychological impact that it has on how people with PS live. And I think if they knew that, it would free us from the bullying, from the unkindness that comes with the speech, people being unkind in speech, and understanding that the people with PS are already struggling with something. And so adding some, just saying anything that is unkind would lead them into more challenges than they have at the moment. And so I wish they could know the degree to which their behavior impacts the life of people with PS. And maybe that would help people with PS to live in a better way, maybe some way it would help for them to feel supported, the communities they live, than feeling like outcasts. I can use that word. I just wish they could know the magnitude of the psychological impact than the physical. Because most of the people, I think they look at the physical outward appearance and they lack knowledge of the psychological impact of it. And so if they knew that, perhaps it would help. And maybe more to that, I feel like still we have a big number of medical workers who don't know. I wish they knew in relating with the people with PS, they knew how. I wish they knew how to deal with them, acknowledging that their condition is physical but also psychological, not just looking at the outward of them, but then supporting them physically to deal with their bodies, but also putting measures on how they can deal with the psychological part of it. This year in January, I happened to go to one of the medical institutions around my area, and I tried to ask out for prosthesis, and to my surprise, I couldn't find any. There were those of for those who are impaired when it comes to the legs, those who don't have arms. But then I realized for the breasts was not there. So we made a connection to one of the cities in the country, but still we could not find any in the country. Could not find any prosthesis, and that is a huge challenge. Next time, me, I might feel confident, but another person might feel like it's not even catered for in a society where such is happening, and that would put down someone psychologically, though also feel loss of like her body is not even fit to be with the rest in the community. I would say a lot, but allow me to stop.
No, thank you for sharing. That's really important to know and to understand and hear from you. So thank you for that. I think we'll draw the podcast to a close in a moment, but just to give Karen and Gift a moment, is Karen first. Is there anything we've not shared that you want to share that you'd like to say before we close?
I think the main thing I want to say is just like the impact of PIP is incredible, and I think that anyone you ask will agree that having this charity and having access to resources like the clinics you do in Birmingham and the festivals we've done over the past and hopefully we will do in the future, it really does bring that sense of community to life. I think it's great to have it online, but knowing that there is an opportunity for us to meet up and to have that connection with people actually face to face is really incredible, and I think that's something that you should, be really proud of, and the fact that you've brought us all together and we're able to feel like we are a part of a community is wonderful, and it really does. It means a lot to me especially, but I think to everyone. But I think even looking back at the fashion show and how I felt afterwards and during it, just knowing that there were people out there fighting for Poland syndrome was the most impactful thing, and knowing that we are making a dent in the journey of getting Poland syndrome recognised, and even if it is just recognised by the NHS in the next couple of years, that would be great. But I mean, it's just been a wonderful experience working with you and being a part of the podcast. I mean, this is my second time now, and it's great. I think it's making a big difference.
Thank you, Karen. I think you are making a huge difference, so thank you for all you do. And Gift, any final words of anything you want to share before we close?
Yes. I think I would be unfair ending this without saying, if it was not for PIP-UK charity, surely this confidence that is in me now would not be there. And personally, I first came to know about PIP-UK charity and a community in 2020, that is 2020, when COVID had hit. And after many years of trying to find out what this condition is, I landed on Rebecca's story. And I was not on Instagram then. So when I looked at that story that was on the internet, on Google, as I was trying to find out, I was depressed. So I was trying to find out what is this. And landing on her story, there was a handle to Instagram, to her page. So when I talked to her for the first time, then she told me about the community, the PIP-UK charity community, and the group of the ladies. And that was in 2020. It is then that I think my story really in some way changed. And as we end this podcast, surely allow me to say thank you for the work that you do, Samantha, with the other members of the community. But I think you take the lead with Peterson, with this time I not say all of them, but I'm grateful for the work that you do, the effort that you put in to give us the support that we really need. Like we said, you realize, like from me and Karen, we have the confidence because we know there is someone who can understand. We are grateful for always organizing these meetings. Since 2020, I think I've had more than 10, more than 20 meetings with you online, though in Africa. And I'm happy for the connection that you create between us, although in different countries, to feel supported, to feel connected, knowing that we have somewhere we belong and we are understood. I'm really grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the moment we've shared this in this time. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I can't say it all, but I'm really happy for giving us this time. And I'll always be there for anything I can take part in. I'll always be there.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Gift and Karen, for your openness.
Thank you.
Your strength, the beautiful experiences you've shared with us today, and thank you everyone for listening and being part of this journey with us today. If you want to learn more and connect with our community and get involved, just visit pip-uk.org or follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook primarily. And, we have a global register where we're collecting data to help with our research in the future. Please go and check that out and sign up if you haven't already. We're also just started the first focus groups of some research into surgery and the decisions that we're making around surgery to get some more knowledge and lived experience of that into the community. So please check out the links that are still on social to take part within those focus groups, because we need more people to get involved there. And if you would like to volunteer your time, this is hard work, and we need more people to get involved. And even if that's just 1 hour a month, we need people to get involved and carry on this work. I've been doing it for 16 years now, and it takes a toll. So let's do it together. Take care, everyone. You are seen, you are heard, you are not alone, and you are deeply loved and valued by everyone in this community. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us and subscribe to our podcast, and follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. See you soon.